Hello guys, welcome back once again to another episode of Learn Data Analytics with Blessing. And in today's video, we'll be looking at string functions used in SQL. What are these string functions and what are they used for? They are used to manipulate strings, such as trying to extract part of a string or replace substrings or combine strings together. So in this video, we'll be looking at some of them and we'll continue our next video. We'll look at the concat function, the left function, right function, len, substring, and replace. So I just created a new table for employees here, where we have their employee ID, the first name, last name, job title, department, email, and phone number. You can see it here. Alright, so the first thing to look at is the concat function. And just like in Microsoft Excel, you use the concat function to combine strings together. How do I do this? I come here. So let's say I want to combine the first name and the last name together. I would say select. So it's going to be concat, open my parentheses. Then the first argument it takes is the expression. What are those things you want to combine together? So I'm going to type in the first name, combine the first name, comma, the last name. Then I'll close my parentheses. As full name, you have to alias it as full name. Then specify where it's coming from. It's coming from the employees table. So let's run this and see. Run F5. And you can see we have the name combined together. But now you notice that there's no space in between. Both the first name and last name are combined together with no space in between. How do I input space in between them? All I have to do is to introduce a character for space in between this. I'll have first name, comma, then character for space, comma, in the last name like this. Or you have to just put quotation mark space, quotation mark, and that will help you add in the space. Let's run again, F5, and you can see we now have space. Another way you can do this is by just using the plus symbol, for which I'll say select what I'll type in first name plus, make sure to include character for space, plus, then the last name. Then I would alias everything to be full name. Specify where the data is coming from the employees table. Then I'll run this F5. And you can see we have the same result as when we use the concat. You can use any of these two, whichever one you want to use. So the next one is the left function. And what is this function used for? It is used to extract part of a string from the left. So let's say I want to first, let me run the whole table. So I'll run everything from the employees table. So let's say I want to extract the first two letters from the first name. I would say select left, open my parentheses, then the expression, the column I want to work with, the field I want to work with, which is the first name, comma, I have to specify the number of characters I want to extract from it. I'll just type in 2 because I want to extract the first two letters. I'll close my parentheses and alias it as first two letters. Specify where my data is coming from. It's coming from the employees table. Then let's run this F5, and you can see it extracted the first letter from the first name. The next one is the right. Just the way left is used to extract data from the left, right would help you extract data or strings from the right. So let's assume I want to remove the last 4 digits from the phone field. All I have to do is to use the right function to do that. So let's go back. I would say select right, open my parentheses, then specify the field I want to work with, which is the phone field, comma, then specify the number of characters I want to extract from, which is 4. Close my, and I would say as what? Last 4 digits. 4 digits. Specify where the data is coming from. Is coming from the employees table. Then let's run this and see. So we have this I'll run this now, F5, and you can see that it extracted the last 4 digits from the right for the phone. Let's go back and see. Let's see our data. So run everything. Let me bring this here, Ctrl C, and paste it down under here so we'll get to see the result. So let's run all together, F5. So you'd see from here we have it returned 890 for this one, and one of the reasons why it's doing this is because it's picked an extra space after 0, so there's an extra space. That's why it's not returning the 7890. Same thing for, it's supposed to return 0 1 2 3, but it's returning 1 2 3 and leaving the 0 behind. That is because it's also taking a space there. So how do I fix this? To trim the SS spaces, you can see we have SS spaces in front of this value here. We have SS spaces in front of the first value in the phone field. There's also SS space here as well at the back, and also here. How do I fix this? To fix this, this is where you get to use the trim function to trim that out. So how do I trim this? All I have to do is to use trim function. So first, trim function. Let's use trim function. To do that, I'll say select what? Select. I want to trim that out. First, let's select everything. Select the phone, comma. Then I want to trim out the spaces from that field for phone. Then I'll use trim function. Open my parentheses, trim. Then I'll type in the field I want to trim. Then I'll close my parentheses as trimmed field, or trim phone instead. Trim phone. Then where is it coming from? It's coming from the employees table. So let's run this, F5, and you can see the difference. Now you no longer find that space you are seeing in front of 1 2 3 anymore. You can't find it. You can no longer find those extra spaces, they've been removed. So if you have your spaces at the right or at the left, is the way you do it. Let's assume you have the spaces for this one, you have the spaces at the left hand side. I would use L trim, that would be select. So let me just do it straight. Instead of trim, I would use L trim, and L trim would remove all the extra spaces, SS spaces on the left hand side. I'll run this now, F5, and you can see that we don't have the SS spaces. You might not really see the one for the right because it's on the right and you have spaces after the values at the right hand side. If you want to remove SS spaces from the right, you just use R trim, and this particular function will remove SS spaces from the right hand side of your data. So let's run this, F5, and you'll notice you still have the space here. You still have the space in front of this 1 2 3. That's because we use the right trim. But the trim functions as both the left trim and the right trim to remove all spaces from both the right and from the left. So I'll do this now. Let's run this, F5. So now let's see what happens if we say, okay, we want to remove the last 3 letters here from an already trimmed phone. So I'll come here and say, okay, I'll type in the trim. So I'm using the trim function instead of the right function. Trim, I'm trimming the phone, right? Trimming the phone. Then comma, I also want to extract last 4 digits from it. So 4, close my parentheses. We have it. Let's run this and see, F5. And you can see we have the correct value. Now it extracted the last 4 digits correctly because we've already removed the SS spaces from that particular field. The last thing we're looking at is the len function. And what is this function used for? Just like in Microsoft Excel, is to count the number of values or characters in a cell. So let's look at this. Let's assume I want to know the email length. We have email column here. I want to know the email length. So I would say select what? Len. Open my parentheses. Select len of the field email. Close my parentheses as email length. So this will count the number of characters in that field for email length. And where is this coming from? It is coming from the field, the table employee. So employees, and let's run this, F5. So you can see we have this. and let's see why it's bringing null for this particular row 5. That is because it does not have email. That's why it's returning null. Okay, the next function we'll be looking at is the substring. And what is this function used for? The substring allows you to extract substring from a string. So let's say I want to extract the first 5 from my email, first 5 characters from my email, or first 5 substring from this email. I would just use select. Now with substring, it allows you to specify what your start position will be and then the number of characters. Unlike the left and right, that would only tell you to specify the number of characters you want to extract. But substring allows you to specify what your start position will be, then the values you want to extract from it. So I'll say select, then substring, then open my parentheses, and I'm working with the email column, email column, comma. So the next argument is, what is the start position? So let's assume my start position is 1, start position is 1, comma, then the length is, I wanted to extract the first 5. Now I'll close my parentheses and I'll give this as, I would say as email start, then where is this coming from? It's coming from the employees table. I'll run this now. First, let's show. Let me just type in the email itself, so we'll see the difference between both email. Then let's run this now. F5, and you can see that it returned first 5 characters from the email. If I want to specify that, okay, let it start from the second position, I would change this from 1 to 2, and I'll run this. This should give us the same result. But now you can see it started from the second position. So the next thing I'm going to look at is the replace. And what is this replace function used for? The replace function is used to replace part of a string. So let's say I want to replace every hyphen in the phone column or phone field. So let's select everything from the employees, select all from employees, and I want to replace all the hyphen there, hyphen here in the phone with just space, in the phone field just space. So I'll come here and say select. So let's select all the values in the phone field first. Select the phone, comma, then I would say replace, open parentheses, then the first argument is the expression you want to search. So expression to be searched is the phone, comma, the next thing is what exactly you want to search. What is the search expression? I wanted to find the hyphen, comma, then what should you replace hyphen? You just replace it with space. Replace hyphen with space. Then I'll close my parentheses, name this as phone without dash, then where is it coming from? From the employees table, employees, and I'll run this. F5. So you can see how that has removed all the hyphens there. So if you want to replace something in your data, use the replace function to do that. Alright, I hope you've been able to pick 1 or 2 from this video. In our next video, we'll look at more string functions. We'll meet again in a nice video. Bye.